Day 2 with the 3, and as promised, I've got the diesel. But before I can get to those details, I've already had a short drive over here, but you know what, look where I am. I'm at the track, and so before anything else, I think I have to simply get in onto the circuit and give you a flavor of what this car is capable of, though it won't be this one. At the Autodromo Internacional do Algarve, or the PORTIMAO circuit, it's a brilliant track. And I have a rather menacing variant of the new 3 Series. Now, when you call the 3 Series the ultimate sports sedan, well, then you've got to put that to the test. And so, as promised, here I am at the track. Now, this car is not the version that we've been driving on the road. The big difference is, of course, under the hood. So this is the M340i and xDrive. So yes, all-wheel drive comes into play. This promises to be fun. The M340i xDrive packs a brand new straight 6, belting out 367 bhp. That's nearly 50 horses more than the most powerful version of the previous 3 Series. It also gets 50 Nm more peak torque at 500 Nm and does 0 to 100 km per hour in 4.4 seconds. Now, the M340i comes with the M Sport trim in terms of package. So that's the bumper you see here. This is a pre-production car, which is why all the camouflage is still on it. But you do see that the kidney grille is finished in like a gunmetal edge. And look at that. That is something we've never seen from BMW. It's almost like the Diamond Star grille from Mercedes-Benz, but very clearly a BMW grille. And it's kind of menacing, almost claw or teeth-like, almost Black Panther-like. First off, let me tell you that this engine also sounds great. It is enhanced by the M Sport exhaust unit. And yes, you get it to pop and crackle in Sport Plus mode. Shorter, sharper gear changes on the 8-speed Steptronic make the drive fun, as does the new updated xDrive system. Power distribution between the front and rear axles is variable, and you get terrific traction as a result. The car maintains a rear wheel bias, so you don't lose the essence of this being a 3 Series. On the M340i, you get a whole bunch of stuff as standard. So the M Sport suspension, the M Sport differential, the M Sport brakes, and also 18-inch mixed-size tires. But the car I'm driving right now, and the one we have today on the track, all of us, well, it's got some optional stuff on there too, which includes the adaptive M suspension and also 19-inch mixed tires. So that also means that they are high-performance tires that are on these cars. All bodes really well. The standard M Sport suspension is good, but the adaptive M suspension with electronically controlled dampers takes things to a whole new level. This car also sits lower by 10 millimeters. What's kind of cool is that when you put the car into Sport Plus mode, while everything will really stiffen up, you might want to be able to have a little more leeway on how you want the car to perform. So you put it into Sport Plus individual, and then you can still have the steering in comfort, especially good when you want to drift the car. And you know, the rest of it, throttle response, the quick gear changes, all of that can still stay in Sport Plus. I had the chance to experience the new car at high triple-digit speeds with electronics switched on, and then also had several goes with them switched off. Now, every time you come around one of these corners really quickly, you try and drift the car out, let the rear hang out. It also keeps reminding you that it is only on this one that you can actually change the distribution between the front and the rear. And so while typically on the 3 Series now it is 50-50, On this car, you can get it to have a much higher rear bias. And every time I feel like, hey, hang on, maybe they could have done just a little bit more, I have to remind myself that they have to save something for the M3. It also has the new variable sport steering, which is just fantastic and gives you perfect feedback as you're pushing the car into sharp cornering and throwing it sideways. Like every time I've been here on this track, I could carry on doing this all day, but I want to quickly share with you that this car has one more little trick up its sleeve. Now, it's not the M3, it's not the M version of the car, and so remember, this isn't going to be absolutely mind-numbing performance, but still, you can get in and activate launch control. So there's no launch control button like you have in some of the sports cars, and yet, like I said, you can do it. So traction off, so DSC off, Sport Plus mode. Well, I've had that engaged pretty much right through my stint here at the track. Into manual, well, sport mode on the transmission. So unlike regular sports cars, which always have that launch control button, there's nothing of that sort in here. However, you can, like I said, still achieve it. And so all I have to do is keep it in Sport Plus. Well, I've kind of had it in Sport Plus throughout my stint here at the track. I put it into the sport transmission, and so S1 is what I see on my display. DSC, of course, is still off. Let's go. And 100. Wow, 150. Effortless, effortless, effortless. As expected. Yeah, that's quick. As you can see by my exhaustive descriptions of the experience and the equipment, the M340i xDrive is the variant to get. But as I warned you at the top, it ain't coming to us. So back to humbler things now, and it's the 320D as promised. The character of the diesel engine hasn't changed a whole lot, and so there is a familiarity there. The point I made earlier with the petrol though about the car feeling bigger when you drive, now that could go a little bit against the fact that you don't get a whole lot of power on this, though the torque is ample, and so it's really going to be interesting, because while there's always a different character between the diesel and the petrol, I feel between the 330i and the 320d it's even more pronounced, and so the distinction of what you like more in terms of what you want to drive, I think will be very apparent to buyers who are choosing between these two, because remember, these are the two engines that will form the basis of sales for India. The 320D gets the 2-litre 186 bhp 400 Nm motor. There is a lower variant, the 318D, and the top-end more powerful diesel 330D. But neither of those will come to us. Having first driven the 330i, I was willing to accept that maybe it's the comparison that was throwing me, but I spent all afternoon trying to push the car hard and was still left a touch underwhelmed. The great things are the handling and the very precise steering, which almost get enhanced in some ways on the diesel. The 320D badging always been a little special to me, because that's the variant and the car I've enjoyed driving the most. Lots of torque on hand and just nice taut sporty diesel driving. You don't always get that, especially in a sedan situation, but the character on this car has changed. I already told you that yesterday with the petrol, and so yes, it feels a little bigger, which is why, dare I say it, the 330i is the more evident, punchier, fun car to drive. Though, I have to say the 320d is the one that's going to get all the attention when sales begin, because remember, these are the two engines we're getting when the car arrives in India. The new 3 Series also has a reversing assistant like we saw on the new X5. What it does is it always keeps the last 50 meters that you drove it in its memory. This allows the car to simply reverse in exactly the same path. So imagine a narrow street or a tricky parking spot, you go in nose first. Getting out can be a pain, and so just turn on the reversing assistant and the car will do it for you in exactly the same way that you went in. So that is the new 3 Series. The car is engineered to a new level, offers a lot more to a potential buyer, and maintains BMW's promise of a sports sedan that energizes you. Could it have been sharper? Had I only driven the 320d, my answer would have been an emphatic yes. But having driven the M340i, I am convinced the new 3 is all set to become the segment benchmark again.